Good morning, students. Today we shall continue with some problems on equilibrium constant in terms of partial pressure. So you write this problem. One mole of nitrogen and 3 moles of hydrogen are subjected to equilibrium at 700 Kelvin and 200 atmosphere pressure according to N2 gas plus 3H2 gas giving 2 NH3 gas. Okay. At equilibrium, 50% of, or you can say 40% of nitrogen is dissociated. Find partial pressures. Find equilibrium partial pressures. And keep. So note this problem. See, to work out this problem, you have to find the partial pressure. Partial pressure, I told you what is the definition of partial pressure. Partial pressure equal to mole fraction into total pressure. So total pressure of the equilibrium is 200. This is the equilibrium pressure. Mole fraction you have to find by the knowledge of equilibrium. So solution: N2 gas plus 3H2 gas giving 2 NH3 gas. Okay. So initial number of moles 1 mole, 3 mole, and you have not taken anything. At equilibrium 50%, 40% of nitrogen is dissociated. So 1 minus 0.4, is this correct? When 40% of nitrogen is dissociated out of 1 mole, that means 0.4 mole has gone. So here you have taken 3 moles hydrogen. Look at the stoichiometry. When 1 mole of nitrogen dissociates or converted into products, 3 times hydrogen should go. Now if 0.4 moles, 3 times 0.4 mole, 1.2 mole disappears, has to disappear. And look at this, 1 mole nitrogen gives 2 mole ammonia, double ammonia. 0.4 mole is dissociated now from nitrogen. So it means 0.8 moles of ammonia. So write the equilibrium moles: 0.6 mole, 1.8 moles, and this is 0.8 moles. Now for partial pressure you want mole fraction. Mole fraction is what? Number of moles divided by total number of moles into total pressure. So total total number of moles will be 0.6 plus 1.8 plus 0.8. So this will be 2.4, 3.2 moles. Now find the partial pressures. Equilibrium partial pressure. Partial pressure of nitrogen equal to its number of moles 0.6 divided by 3.2 into 200. Is it okay? What is partial pressure of hydrogen? It is its number of moles 1.8 into 200 divided by 3.2. What is partial pressure of ammonia? This is 0.8 into 200 divided by what? 3.2. So, if you work out this, you will get an answer. Please work out this. And this is a partial pressure. And once you know partial pressure, how do you find Kp? Kp is, you have partial pressures now. Partial pressure square of ammonia divided by partial pressure of nitrogen, partial pressure cube of hydrogen. So if you substitute the values, I think you will get the answer. I will keep this as a homework to you because this takes a lot of time. So you do it, leave space and cut it. Okay? So this is how you can work out problems on calculation of Kp and equilibrium partial pressures also. Like in the previous class I told you how to calculate the equilibrium concentrations. Okay? Yes. So one more part in this chapter is equilibrium constant and standard Gibbs energy. Relation between equilibrium constant and standard Gibbs energy you learned in thermodynamics chapter. And standard Gibbs energy is called free energy delta G naught. See, want of reaction isotherm. This you will learn in sometimes higher classes in the graduation level. There is an equation. The equation, consider a reaction like this. Consider A moles of A plus B moles of B giving C moles of C and D moles of D. The standard free energy change for this reaction, the want of isotherm, delta G is equal to, this is free energy change, delta G naught plus 2.303 RT log of QC, and this is to the base 10 log of QC. What is QC? QC is reaction quotient other than the system attaining equilibrium. System has not attained equilibrium. Now at equilibrium, these are the things happening. When a system attains equilibrium, please note this, delta G becomes 0. At equilibrium, delta G is becoming 0. This has been told in thermodynamics chapter. And not only that, QC becomes equal to Kc because that concentration corresponds to the equilibrium concentration, Kc. Now if you substitute that in the isotherm, you can call it as equation 1. So from equation 1 what will happen? From equation 1, 0 equal to delta G naught plus 2.30 RT log. Now QC is Kc. So it means delta G naught equal to minus 2.303 RT log Kc or even Kp also is correct. So this is the relation between what? Standard Gibbs energy delta G naught and equilibrium constant. Now R is what here? Here R is what? R refers to universal gas constant and T refers to absolute temperature. Okay, now we have to work out problem on this, and before that let us see what is the spontaneity and for a reaction. Now you watch this equation and you know if delta G naught is negative, or negative in the sense what? Delta G naught is less than 0, then what will happen is, here it is negative and here also there is a minus sign. Kc will be greater than 0, or you can say Kc will be positive. Try to understand. If delta G naught is negative, here already minus sign is there. Minus gets cancelled on either side. So Kc will be positive. Kc will be positive. Implies Kc positive. Kc positive in the sense Kc is greater than 0. Log Kc is positive. Now I will tell you, because log 1 is 0. Log 1 is 0. So delta G naught will be 0, implies Kc is 1. So Kc is greater than 1. Okay, I write it first. Okay, if Kc has to be 1, then what does it mean? Log 1 is 0, delta G naught is 0. Suppose if Kc is less negative or Kc is less than 1, if suppose Kc is less than 1, bar comes, for example 0.9, log 0.9 is bar 1.2. And here minus comes, minus of minus becomes positive. Okay, that means therefore delta G naught will be positive. Okay, so you have to answer Kc by the value 1 greater or smaller. So I conclude, if Kc is 1, delta G naught is 0. If Kc is greater than 1, delta G naught is negative, spontaneous. Delta G naught is negative, Kc greater than 1 implies spontaneous process. Delta G naught is the equilibrium under standard condition, and delta G naught positive, that means Kc less than 1. This is non-spontaneous. So this also you must know, and this it may be helpful to predict some entrance questions. I think one problem I worked on calculation of equilibrium constant by knowing delta G naught or giving equilibrium constant and calculating delta. The value of delta G naught, write this formula. The value of delta G naught for the phosphorylation of blue chemical process? Phosphorylation of glucose in the body. In glycolysis is 13.8 kilojoule per mole. Find the value of Kc at 298 Kelvin. Find the value of Kc at 298 Kelvin. This is the question. R value will be given. R is equal to 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole. Okay. So this problem I worked on. Delta G naught equal to minus 2.303 RT log Kc. So it is 13.8. 13.8 you can write it as into joule. 13,800 equal to minus 2.303 into 8.314. R is in joules. How can this be in kilojoule? So this is into 10 raised to 3. Into 10 raised to 3, 13.8 into 10 raised to 3 becomes 13,800. 8.314 into 290 into log of Kc. Now, this is negative, remember, because this is positive. Now, log Kc will be 13,800 with negative sign divided by 2.303 into 8.314 into 298. If you work out this, the answer becomes minus 5.569. See, the value of this is 13,800 with minus sign divided by, you multiply this 5,700 0.84 and this will be minus 2.41857. Now this is log Kc, therefore Kc will be on anti-log. Anti-log if you want to take, this is bar 3 pointer 5, 8, 1, 4, 3. And if you look at the anti-logarithm form 0.58134, it becomes, the answer is 3810. Put the decimal point in the first place into 10 to the power minus 3. This is the answer. So this is how I think you can work out what? The equilibrium constant. So with this, the calculation of the equilibrium constants and Kc, Kp, etc. are over. Now we are at the last part of chemical equilibrium. So we will go to the last part, that is factors affecting the chemical equilibrium. Factors affecting chemical equilibrium. See, what are all the factors that will disturb the equilibrium? I think by the so far learning you have understood. Concentration of reactants and products. Concentration or molar concentration. Temperature is definitely one factor which changes even equilibrium constant. Temperature. Pressure affects the equilibrium. Then, what about the catalyst? Catalyst, whether it affects that, because it affects the rate of the reaction, you know. So, how catalyst affects the equilibrium? We shall learn. Addition of noble gas. Noble gas or inert gas, they don't react, no doubt, but they require some space. If you force some noble gas into a reaction vessel, something will happen, isn't it? Because they require some space. Even though noble gases do not react. So these are all the factors that are affecting the chemical equilibrium. How does this factor affect the chemical equilibrium? Is very nicely discussed by a principle. And that principle is called, Leach-Delius principle. Very important principle. Leach-Delius principle. This is a 2-mark question also. Statement. So what is Leach-Delius principle? That is telling you about how these factors affect the equilibrium. Now listen very carefully. When a system at equilibrium is subjected to a strain or a constraint in terms of any of the factors, the equilibrium shifts its position in order to cancel this strain, and it once again attains equilibrium at a new position. So that means any of the factors affecting equilibrium will definitely disturb the equilibrium, shifts its position in such a way that the equilibrium is re-established. The equilibrium is re-established. Okay? And remember, except temperature, for rest all factors, the value of equilibrium constant also remains the same. Please note this. Equilibrium constant, I told you, depends on temperature. For the temperature effect only equilibrium constant value changes. For the remaining factors, even the value of equilibrium constant remains same. Or you can say it shifts the equilibrium in such a way in order to maintain the same Kc or Kp values. So I write the statement, which is very, very important from the point of view of examination also. It is this: when a system at equilibrium is subjected a constraint bracket strain. How? By changing any of factors affecting equilibrium. Then the equilibrium shifts its position. In order to nullify, the word I use, nullify, that means cancel. In order to nullify the effect of in order to nullify the effect. Okay, so this is Lee-Chatelier principle. This is Lee-Chatelier principle. Now, how does these factors affect the equilibrium? This we have to understand by considering different examples according to your textbook. That means details of factors affecting your explain with respect to concentration, how it affects, temperature, how it affects, pressure, how it affects, catalyst and addition of noble gases. Not that much detailed discussions required. Is it right? So now these 2 points I will once again clarify. What are the factors affecting chemical equilibrium? Mention any 2 factors affecting chemical equilibrium. You can mention only the factors. And how these factors affect equilibrium has been discussed by Lee in the form of his principle. Now, application of Lee-Chatellier's principle in terms of this. I write ready. Application of Lee-Chatellier's principle. The application of Lee-Chatellier's principle. The first one, let us take effect of concentration and heat. Effect of concentration. How does change in concentration affects the equilibrium? See, this is discussed by taking hydrogen iodide, formation of hydrogen iodide. Consider the reaction. Consider the reaction H2 gas plus I2 gas giving 2HI gas. So this equilibrium we have to discuss by considering the change in concentration. I will write the Kc value, okay? Change equilibrium constant. This is concentration of the hydrogen iodide to the power 2 divided by hydrogen concentration and iodine concentration by definition of equilibrium constant. Now let me tell you this with a graph. See this. Very easily one can understand. Think this is a time graph and this is the concentration axis. Concentration axis. Okay, I will start the reaction at equilibrium only. The reaction is already at equilibrium. Your own choice. Think at equilibrium. This is Hi concentration, hydrogen iodide concentration. This is hydrogen concentration and this is iodine concentration. Is it okay? It is your own choice. Think. Now the system is already at equilibrium. Now, how you can disturb this equilibrium? You can add some Hi suddenly, or you can add some iodine, or you can add some hydrogen iodide also from outside. This is one way of disturbing. Or if you have got some means, you can remove one of the product only, selectively. You can remove only iodine, you can remove only hydrogen, you can remove only Hi. You can remove also. You can add or you can remove. So these are all the way you can disturb the equilibrium. Now let me start with like this. I will add some hydrogen. I will add some iodine. Okay, I will add some iodine. So if you add some, this is the at this time, this is the time. I will add some iodine. Suddenly iodine concentration increases. You agree? Because I have added from outside. What is the effect? Denominator suddenly increases. So Kc has to remain constant. Numerator has to increase. So immediately the reaction shifts in the forward direction. in order to keep Kc constant. Because you have added iodine, it has to decrease iodine. If you add hydrogen, it has to decrease hydrogen. If you add HI, it has to decrease HI. If you remove HI, it has to increase HI. So, very obedient. Equilibrium is very obedient. It is not counterattack. It is doing a favor. Suppose think, you want to go towards the door. If some snake comes, you have to come back. If snake goes outside, you can go there. Understand? It is not a revolt. In the opposite direction it shifts. If wherever there is a strain, in the opposite direction of the strain, equilibrium is shifted. So easy to understand. Now iodine concentration suddenly increases. Then HI concentration slowly increases. Then what should happen? In order to increase HI, what should happen? I2 should decrease, H2 should decrease. Now it has attained equilibrium. Once again equilibrium. Now what is the new concentration? HI here, H2 here, I2 here. Now do one thing. You add some HI. Add some HI from the right side. So suddenly, watch the line. Suddenly, HI will increase. HI will increase. See. If you add HI, if you decrease HI, then H2 and I2 should increase. Then what will happen? H2 will increase. I2 will increase. H2 will increase. And HI will decrease. So this is new HI, H2, I2. Okay. Now remove some HI. Remove some HI. HI suddenly decreased. H2 and I2 also should decrease. H2 decreases. I2 decreases. HI increases. So this is the new concept. So what to write? When H2 and I2 are added, the equilibrium shifts in the forward direction. When H2 or I2 are added, the equilibrium shifts in the forward direction, or forward reaction is favored, and vice versa. If HI is added, reverse reaction is favored. And I will write here, this is not necessary to write. So what to write in the conclusion? The value of equilibrium constant. The value of equilibrium constant remains same. Okay. Next one is effect of temperature. Effect of temperature. See, this can be very easily understood. See, increase of temperature always favors endothermic reactions. Because which reaction requires heat? Tell me. Endothermic reaction. Because exothermic reaction, heat is evolved. Why it requires heat? If you give temperature, some reactions are there which are in requirement of the heat. They are called endothermic reaction. So one general statement I can write: increase of temperature always favors because they are in requirement of heat. Now, increase of temperature I will take. For the formation of ammonia, consider N2 gas plus 3H2 gas giving 2NH3 gas. This is formation of ammonia. Here delta H is negative. Please note this. The forward reaction is exothermic. So according to the statement, it is understood. What is that? As temperature increases, the forward reaction formation of ammonia will not be favored because that is in the requirement of heat reward. As temperature increases, the reverse reaction is favored, which is endothermic. Remember, if the reverse reaction is favored, ammonia concentration decreases, means numerator decreases. If numerator decreases, the value of Kc decreases. Okay, as temperature increases. And suppose if you decrease the temperature, it has got the reverse effect. However, minimum temperature is required for the energy of activation to acquire by the reaction. That we will discuss in the next year, second year PhD will learn. For any reaction to carry out, to break the bonds, the minimum temperature is required. This increase or decrease, you have to speak after that particular temperature. For example, for this reaction, 700 Kelvin is required. The Haber process of manufacture of ammonia, 700 Kelvin is required. If you speak after 700, if you make it 800, ammonia starts decomposition. If you carry the reaction below 700, product is nil. So very much negligible. Equilibrium will not be established. Required condition you have to provide. So this is all about effect of temperature. The general conclusion is this: as temperature increases, the endothermic reactions are favored. Last one, or the important one, effect of pressure. Effect of pressure. See, here also one general statement I can take. If you increase the pressure, the equilibrium shifts in such a way to decrease the pressure. Yes or no? As and when pressure is increased, the equilibrium try to decrease the pressure. How it will decrease the pressure? By shifting the equilibrium towards less number of moles. For example, here only I can tell you, reactants are totally 4 moles, products are only 2 moles. If you increase the pressure, right side will be favored. Because if some amount of nitrogen and hydrogen are converted to ammonia, the number of moles decreases. That means pressure automatically gets decreased. So increase of pressure tends to decrease the pressure, effect of pressure. So it means increase of pressure favors less number of gaseous substances. Less number of gaseous substances. I will consider one equilibrium and I explain with respect to that equilibrium. There is an equilibrium, carbon monoxide gas, example, carbon monoxide gas reacts with hydrogen gas and it is going to produce methane CH4 gas and H2O gas. Suppose if you consider carbon monoxide and hydrogen, how many moles of the gases? 4 moles of the gases. Methane and water vapors, there are 2 moles. So what is the conclusion? As and when the pressure increases, forward reaction is favored or product is favored and decrease of pressure has reverse effect. So shall I write here, try to produce the same. As pressure increases, forward reaction is favored. Why forward reaction is favored? Because it will be possible to decrease the pressure. Because if 4 moles of the reactants have been converted to 2 moles, half of the space is enough according to gas laws, is it not? 4 liter of this, if I convert totally, I can carry within 2 liter at the same temperature and pressure. And at the same temperature. Because volume gets half. So increase of pressure always favors less number of moles. Decrease of pressure as reverse. You can write here. Decrease of pressure as reverse effect. Okay. Now the last factor, catalyst. Effect of catalyst. See, both forward and reverse reactions rate increases by catalyst. A catalyst increases the rate of both forward and reverse reactions equally. Therefore, chemical equilibrium is unaffected by the catalyst. See, it only helps to attain the equilibrium faster. QC to KC is faster. You are at some QC. If you add a catalyst, immediately you go to KC. That means immediately it attains equilibrium. But the position of the equilibrium remains same. Because with what speed it enhances the rate of forward reaction, with the same speed, reverse reaction also gets enhanced. Rate gets enhanced. So that means the chemical equilibrium is unaffected by the catalyst. And lastly, what about noble gas? Noble gases at constant volume. At constant volume, noble gases increases total pressure only, and partial pressure remains same. Suppose nitrogen, hydrogen, ammonia, they have got their own partial pressure. If you add some noble gas, total pressure increases at constant volume, and partial pressure remains same. So in the equilibrium, what will happen? Partial pressure appears. So that means partial pressure remains same. Therefore, equilibrium is unaffected. Equilibrium is unaffected. So this is how, I think these 3 points, first 3 points, effect of concentration, effect of temperature and effect of pressure. I think these 3 points you have to study, and it can be a 2-mark question also. So application of Leach-Eccles principle.